A little bit with you guys, just a little note on prepping this hive. I'm going to sell this hive tomorrow to a good friend of mine. So I just want to tell you kind of what it is that I'm looking for. Mostly just did a quick inspection on it. I went through, I pulled every single brood frame, checked them for any signs of anything that I thought was wrong, checked the brood pattern. The brood pattern looks great. I didn't see any signs of, from what I know, disease or anything like that. No wax moth issues. Of course, you see small hive beetles running around because they're everywhere down here. But just kind of checked on, again, the brood pattern, looked at their honey stores, looked at their pollen stores. They've got this frame over here on the very end is almost half full of pollen. And then they've got two frames over here that are empty, but they're drawed out. They're ready to be filled up with whatever they can bring in. We've still got the goldenrod flow going on. Everything still looks really good, so I think they're still bringing in a lot of pollen and nectar. Got the honey super over here full of honey. There's just a little bit of brood on the bottom of these two frames, no more than just, a couple square inches on the bottom of those frames, but mostly other than that, it's all honey supers. That's great. That's what I want to see. Going into the winter, my kind of rule of thumb is a full medium full of honey, just to be safe. I honestly think down here, as mild as we are and as much stuff blooms year round almost, it's really not that necessary, but since I'm selling it to this guy and it's going to be out where he's not going to be able to check on it on a weekly basis or whatever like I do with my hives here in my backyard, then I want to make sure he's got some security there. The last thing I did for him, I did find the queen, and by his request, I put her in a cage just so he can see her tomorrow because it's been a while since he's played with the bees. So he said he wanted to see her and know for sure what she looked like. She's not a real big queen. I'm not going to, let me see. No, I'm not going to pull her out of there because I've got that little cage wedged in there, but she's not real big. Surprisingly, I guess she's one of the ones that I raised up here just about a month or so ago when I did those grafts with requeens. So she's not real big, but she is laying a very good pattern. Looks very nice, and the bees are being, they're being pretty gentle. I'm not really having any problems with them. This was the hive that I said before I requeened them, they were so mean, even with smoke. As soon as I opened the hive, they'd be all over my gloves. So it's a complete attitude change. They don't really even seem to mind me being here. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all this back together, put the honey super back on. I'm going to strap it with a ratchet strap so it all stays in one piece. Pick the whole thing up in one big chunk, throw it in my truck, and then tomorrow we'll run it down to him and set it up. If I remember, I'll try to make a little video of the setup once we get there. But I just thought I'd make this little bit to kind of document, what you want to look for. It's mostly just a quick hive inspection. The only thing different really is I was checking to find that queen and cager just so he'd be able to get to see her. So that'll be it for right now. And hopefully I'll remember to make a little clip for y'all where we're at tonight. It is 10:30 at night. I should be in bed, but I'm still awake out here trying to get this hive loaded up. So what I've done is on the front of the hive, on the landing board, I've stapled a screen, and the screen is just stapled all around the whole perimeter so the bees can't get out. One or two might find their way out through a hole, but the most important thing is when the sun comes up tomorrow before I get on the road, I don't want these bees to all come flying out of the box and go foraging because I don't want to leave a bunch of foragers here at the house. We're going about an hour and a half away with these bees, so I definitely don't want to be leaving anybody behind. You see a couple of them still out there. When I first started stapling, making that racket, a bunch of them started trying to come running out, but I already had the screen laid on there, so actually not a single one of them actually ran out and got outside the screen and pestered me. Then what I did with that stapled on was I took one ratchet strap and I ratcheted, my garage lights went out, ratcheted around the hive, so the whole hive is held together as one big piece. And that allowed me to pick it up as one big piece without having to break the boxes apart. It's about 30 pounds of honey in the super, and then the hive body really by itself is only about 10 or 15 pounds. So I was able to pick it all up in one piece. Probably weighs 50 or 60 pounds, but it's awkward because it's bulky. Picked it all up, set it in the wheelbarrow, and then I've got it in the truck here, and you can see I've got two. Come back so y'all can see I've got two straps coming together right there that are crossing right here, and those are running cat-a-corner in the bed of the truck. So the hive is strapped down tight. It's not going to bounce around. It's not going to scoot around in the back of the truck. And the hive itself is ratcheted down with this ratchet right here in the middle that's binding the whole hive together as one piece. So we'll get it out there tomorrow, throw it on the wheelbarrow and move it around to where he wants to set it up on the stand. Take that strap off and peel the screen back to you. So this is just the next day. We're out at my buddy's house. We've got him set up. You see we've got the screen peeled off. Of course, as soon as we did, the bees came boiling out because they just wanted to get out and fly around, but they real quick settled down again. So we went through the hive. Picked through it. I showed him everything he needed to see as far as brood comb and larvae and eggs and everything. Showed him the queen. We went ahead and released the queen, and everything on here looks really good. So we've got him set up out here. We're right on the boundary line of a large state park. So these bees should do very well. They should be very happy.